Hey YouTube, welcome to my spear making video. This is my spear here. I made it from an ash tree branch. I've taped this spearhead to the end of it. So I'll teach you how to make a spear like this in this video. Let's get into it. So selecting your wood. You want to use ash wood or oak wood. I've never worked with oak. As I understand it, it's a very hard wood. It would probably be good. There's not really any oak trees in my region. I've never worked with oak, but I understand it to be good. Ash gets very hard once it dries. It's a decent wood. I do not recommend any conifers or pines, evergreens, things like that. That wood is way too soft and will snap like that. Can't make a decent spear out of any kind of conifer or evergreen tree. You want to get yourself 2.5 feet to 4 feet, a straight section 2.5 feet to 4 feet. At the thick end, it should be 1 to 2 inches across. Don't use any dead wood. No wood harvested from dead trees. It's far too hard to work with. Don't use a branch that you found on the ground unless it only recently fell. It's too hard to work with. You need to work with your wood within 72 hours of it being removed from a live tree. Once it dries up, it gets hard as a rock, you can't work with it. So you use a saw or a knife to chop off your branch. Then you chop off the rest of the branch and remove your straight section. Then you put on your work gloves. These are my work gloves. And you tear off all the twigs and leaves and small twigs and leaves and things like that. Just tear them off with your hands. Up and down the branch, tear them off with your hands. Then with your work gloves on, this is a multi-tool card. I use this to demonstrate because they don't let me access my knives for a video here at this group home. But they do let me access my knives for woodworking if I need it, if the owner of this place is present. But I don't have a knife available to me for purposes of this video. So this is what I use to demonstrate. You scrape off all the bark, scrape off all the knots. See, this used to be a big knot. This used to be a big knot. This used to be a knot. You scrape off all the knots and all the bark like so, in motions away from your body. And don't do something like this. Like this. Don't do something like that because you're liable to have an accident and cut your hand. You put your non-dominant hand above the knife and scrape it off with the knife edge. Scrape off all the knots, scrape off all the bark, get it nice and clean, get it all the bark scraped off. Then you want to leave the there's going to be a thin end and a thick end. You leave the thick end as a pommel, flat. You can nail a nail if you need to, like a hammer. You can use it as a self-defense tool. You keep a pommel there for blunt force weapon. And the thin end you make into a tip. I recommend a flat tip, not a round tip. The way to explain it is a round tip is like a pencil tip, and a flat tip is like a double-edged knife tip. So a flat tip is in the same shape as this spearhead. You don't want a round tip, like I said. That's the shape of a pencil. You want a flat tip. And then once you make your flat tip, I recommend using sandpaper to smooth it out even more. I did do that with this one. However, sandpaper is not always available, especially if you're in the field. It's not real crucial, but I recommend using sandpaper if possible. And tape yourself some handles. And then tape your spearhead to the end of it. Now you can get a spearhead at Amazon and something called a survival card. Not to be confused with a multi-tool card. This is a multi-tool card. This does not contain a spearhead, but there's a survival card available on Amazon that's got a spearhead in it, a metal spearhead. If it doesn't show the spearhead in the purchase page, don't buy it. It should show the spearhead in the purchase page of the survival card purchase page on Amazon. Look for survival card on Amazon. Likely it'll come up with something like this, spearhead. Now the spearhead is fairly optional. You can make it sharp, just wood that's sharp. You can make a sharp end to this. This had a pretty sharp end before I taped the spearhead on it. You can still hunt with that. You can still fish with it. The spearhead is not, it's optional. It makes it better, but you can have functionality without the spearhead. But I chose to tape a spearhead onto here. So this is my spear. Once you tape your spearhead on, you're good to go. You're good to go. You can hunt ducks, geese. You can hunt rabbits, squirrels. You can hunt fish. You can hunt a lot of animals, and it's also security. You can use it as a weapon. In any case, that's my video. Hope you enjoyed it. Peace out.